Innovation in supply chain. To moderate the session, I invite Mr. Achin Agarwal ji, SKB Nuts Private Limited. Here I'm gonna invite the speakers, Mr. Piyush Sarda, Big Basket, Mr. Umesh Vachani, RK Agro Processing, Mr. Amit Pai, Amit Cashew Industries, Mr. Alok Bhatia, Jaman Lal Kanhaiya Lal Enterprises, Mr. Sumit Naharji, Manak Meva, Mr. Sola Saktivel, Metro Cash and Carry. Please everybody, let's welcome the panelists with our moderator, Mr. Achin Agarwal.
Good afternoon. I thank Mr. C. Vatsa and Cashew Info team to give this opportunity to moderate this session. 10 years before, cashew was a labor-intensive industry and distribution was through brokers, mandis and retailers. However, many changes came in last 10 years. Changes like demonetization, GST and recently COVID, which has disrupted the routine supply and changed the face of industry irreversibly. Disruptions brought us incredible amount of innovations in supply chain, packaging, branding, marketing and retailing, which will be our today's subject of discussion. This is our chart for conventional supply chain. Earlier, factory was selling through brokers to wholesalers, then wholesalers was again selling through brokers to semi-wholesalers and retailers, and finally product was getting to the consumers. Then we have a modern retail model where factory sells directly to the third-party packer or self-packing center, and it goes to the store and finally to the consumer. Then we have e-commerce model where factory sells to the third-party packer, self-packing facility, e-commerce warehouse, and the consumer gets the goods. Packaging, cashew is mainly packed in bulk packaging. 2 tins of one box is containing 2 tins, 10 kg or 11.34. Vacuum packed and newly introduced plastic tin. And we have retail packaging. But the problem is that most of the mandis are flooded with the packets, including weight, which we will discuss here, that how to get rid of them. They have no markings, no FSI regulations they are following, and selling the product much cheaper. So the organized trade people, when they float their material, they cannot sell and they cannot compete the unorganized trade people. And when the organized trade people goes to e-commerce portals also, the cost of delivery, rejection, advertisement is so high that seller cannot make any margin. They are just there to put their brands visible in the market. This is the cashew sales data. Cashew sales is actually increasing by 4%. And this is the packaged and unpackaged form. That earlier we have a 10% packaged cashew was selling in the market. Now it is up to 17 to 18%. And branding. Branding is in cashew, we have ingredients. Cashew is sold as ingredients and the snack pack. We have B2B brands and B2C brands. There are lesser, because just now we talked about this unorganized packaged cashew. Because of that, there are lesser players of cashew who can sell their B2C consumers. And Achal has done a nice job, and Delhi Nut from India Foods, I think they are the good leaders in packed cashew industry. We have with us now leading change makers along with supply chain to understand innovations and get a hint what is coming into the future. I'll hand over to our panelists to share their views.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Sola Saktivel. I get the commodities buying for wholesale, Cash and Carry. It's an interesting panel. I was one of the audience here listening to the food safety regulations and the ways to improve the cash business in entrusting the customers with right quality product. The supply chain is also largely related to that space, I would say. As a retailer come wholesaler, one of the things that we see as a drastic shift is customers moving and upgrading themselves from, say, a regular cashew for regular consumption to a value-added cashew nuts. It is a great thing for a retailer or wholesaler, because if the average bill value of any customer is, say, 1,500 rupees or 2,000 rupees in a supermarket, a kilo of cashew would be roughly half of that. So therefore, anything which goes additionally into the basket is a major value-added chain for any retailer or wholesaler. However, the trick here is to catch up with the customer change in behavior as well as expectations. We also quickly saw about the branded cashews, which is playing a great role. I would say it is slightly a surrogate to ensure that the quality is delivered rightly to the customer. We had a lot of conversation about what should be the packaging, should it be added cost or should it be outside the product cost, etc. What I see as a wholesaler or retailer is the money that I am paying to my seller, be it a processor or otherwise, is not actually my money. It is the money that I am taking from my customers and paying it back. And therefore, the entire value chain needs to be looked at in oneness to see how do you reduce the cost in every single step of the value chain, still delivering a product which is cost effective at the same time without compromising on the quality. And as retailers, I can talk on behalf of most of the retailers, we would be more than willing to participate because it is one, a very high value product. Two, it is a product which is picking up really well in terms of its growth, maybe slightly behind its counterparts in say almonds or pistachios, but it is picking up. And third, it is also relatively a profitable business. So therefore, my submission is to see not from the opposite sides of the table, the overall value chain and the cost involved, but see from the same side of the table, how can we together in this room can deliver superior value to the customer without compromising on the quality. That would be my submission.
मैं यहाँ पर बैठा अभी तो अभी कुछ सोच रहा था कि बहुत कुछ बोलने के लिए, लेकिन जैसे ही बैठा तो मेरे दिमाग में काजू के ग्रेड्स आने शुरू हो गए। PW, PW1, PW3, KNP, KWP, KWP1, S240, B240, पता नहीं कितने ग्रेड्स मेरे दिमाग में आने शुरू हो गए और मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया। मेरा जैसा जो 31 साल से इस बिज़नेस के अंदर है, मैं आज तक 31 साल के अंदर इन ग्रेड्स को नहीं समझ पाया कि हाँ भी ये कितनी तरह के ग्रेड्स हैं। हम ट्रेडर्स, हमें सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम यही आती है, हर फैक्ट्री का जो एक ग्रेड है वो चेंज है। किसी का W240 कुछ और है तो उसी का दूसरे का वो WW240 बन गया। किसी को 700 का चाहिए W240, 750 की जगह तो चलिए M240, A240 वो उसमें मिक्स कर दिए। हमारा काम है अपने कस्टमर्स को गाइड करना, एजुकेट करना। हम उनको अच्छे से एजुकेट करते हैं कि ये क्वालिटी W240 है, ये A240 है, ये PW है। हमें हर चीज़ उसको एजुकेट करनी पड़ती है, उसको सैंपल्स दिखाने पड़ते हैं, लेकिन हमें नहीं पता होता कि फैक्ट्री से हमें क्या माल आएगा। तो जितने भी यहाँ पर फैक्ट्रीज वाले हैं, मेरी उनसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप इस ग्रेडिंग की तरफ ज़रूर ध्यान दें। ये आने वाले टाइम में एक बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम आने वाली है। एक यूनिफॉर्मिटी होनी चाहिए इसके अंदर कि W240 मीन्स W240, ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर फैक्ट्री टू फैक्ट्री वेरी करेगा, नट टू नट वेरी करेगा, वो बात तो समझ में आती है, लेकिन इतना ह्यूज डिफरेंस ये हम लोगों को समझ नहीं आती। मेरे यहाँ पर मेरे प्रेसिडेंट साहब प्रकाश कलवावी जी बैठे हैं, मेरे मार्गदर्शक MMP M माधव प्रभु जी के बेटे तुकाराम जी बैठे हैं, मेरे मित्र राहुल जी बैठे हैं, दिल्ली से आए मेरे सभी सतीश जी, संजय जी और मेहता जी भी यहाँ बैठे हैं। तो मैं उनका और पूरी ऑर्गेनाइजिंग कमेटी का और मैं सारे पैनलिस्ट और अचिन जी आपका सभी का हार्दिक अभिनंदन करता हूँ। बहुत सी कैशू के अंदर मैंने बायर सेलर मीट अटेंड करी, बेंगलोर भी गए और भी जगह। हर जगह जहाँ भी जाते हैं वहाँ हमेशा एक कंसेप्ट आता है B2B, B2C। जब भी वो जो जोर दिया जाता है B2C, ठीक है, मैन्युफैक्चरर से कंज्यूमर तक जाना चाहिए, ये भी हमारा भी मानना है। लेकिन अब ये नई भाषा सुनने को आ गई हमें B2R। भाई ये B2R क्या है? B2R है मैन्युफैक्चरर्स टू रिटेलर। हम दिल्ली के जितने भी हम ट्रेडर्स हैं, ये एक बहुत बड़ी डिफ़िकल्टी फेस कर रहे हैं इस टाइम कि जो हमने इतने सालों के अंदर आज हमारी दुकान को 70 साल हो गए, जमला कनियाला को 50 साल हो गए। हम लोगों ने इतनी मेहनत करके एक अपना बेस बनाया, अपने कस्टमर्स बनाए। आज जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स हैं सीधा उनको सप्लाईज देने में वो आ गए। एक रिटेलर 5 पेटी मंगाता है तो मैंगलोर या केरल या आंध्रा उसको 5 पेटी वहाँ से सप्लाई दिया जाता है, वो भी रिटेलर को। कंज्यूमर की बात नहीं कर रहा, कंज्यूमर तक आप पहुँचाइए, कोई मना नहीं है। बहुत से प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, उनके थ्रू जाइए, रिटेल के अंदर उनको दीजिए। लेकिन सबसे ज़्यादा इफेक्ट क्या, मतलब आप ट्रेडर्स को ही देखना चाहते हैं कि ट्रेडर्स को ही ख़त्म करना चाहते हैं, मुझे ये बात समझ नहीं आती। आज बहुत से मैन्युफैक्चरर्स ट्रेडर्स बन गए। वो अपनी स्टेट के अंदर छोटी फैक्ट्री से माल लेते हैं और उसकी ट्रेडिंग करते हैं। और जो मेहनत करके हमने अपने कस्टमर्स को एक स्टेज से यहाँ तक उनके पूरी मेहनत में साथ दिया है, उन कस्टमर्स में कुछ ग्रेड्स के लिए लाइक जो सिलेक्टेड है हायर ग्रेड्स, उनके अंदर वो उनको हायर ग्रेड्स देते हैं, और जब लोअर ग्रेड्स की बारी आती है तो हमारी तरफ देखते हैं। अरे उन कस्टमर्स को तो हमारे लिए, ट्रेडर्स के लिए रहने दीजिए जिसमें हमने मेहनत करी है। इस ट्रेडिंग से किसी को फायदा नहीं होने वाला। जो मैन्युफैक्चरर्स अगर ट्रेडिंग करके वहीं पर अपनी स्टेट के अंदर माल कवर करके और दूसरी स्टेट में, हमारी जैसी स्टेट्स के अंदर अगर वो यहाँ पर दे रहा है, तो मेरे हिसाब से ये एक गलत इफेक्ट आएगा इन फ्यूचर। अब मैं अपने लास्ट पॉइंट पे आना चाहता हूँ। यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी इज द कंसेप्ट ऑफ इंडिया। ये कंसेप्ट भी है और स्ट्रेंथ भी है। हम सबको साथ मिलकर चलना है। अगर मैन्युफैक्चर है, ट्रेडर है, रिटेलर है, हम सबको साथ मिलकर चलना है। अगर हम सब मिलकर नहीं चलेंगे तो ना मैन्युफैक्चरर्स फायदे में रहेगा, ना ट्रेडर्स फायदे में रहेगा, और ना ही रिटेलर फायदे में रहेगा। सब कंपटीशन में, आपस के में एक कंपटीशन में आ जाएंगे। भाई आज एक मैन्युफैक्चरर ने डायरेक्ट सप्लाई दी तो ट्रेडर कह रहा है ठीक है यार, मैं भी नुकसान खाता हूँ और एक बार मैं भी माल देता हूँ। रिटेलर्स है, आप वो बेचारा, उसका मार्जिन फिक्स है। आप अगर उसको 800 की चीज़ 780 की देंगे, उसने 1000 की बेची। अगर वो हमारे थ्रू 810 की लेगा तो भी उसने 1000 बेचनी है। आप रिटेलर्स का मार्जिन बढ़ा और कुछ नहीं कर रहे। आप ट्रेडिंग की तरफ ध्यान नहीं देंगे। जो हमारे पुराने, जो हमारी या थर्ड मेरी हमारी जनरेशन है, आप लोगों में से भी कई होंगी थर्ड होगी, जो हम पुरानी जनरेशन से चलते आए हैं, जो एक सिस्टम बना हुआ है और जो अचिन जी ने भी अभी स्लाइड्स में दिखाया है, हमें अगर कैशो इंडस्ट्री को इस कोरोना इफेक्ट से या इन चीज़ों से अगर निकालना है तो हमें उसी ट्रेंड पर दोबारा आना होगा। मैन्युफैक्चरर्स टू ट्रेडर्स, ट्रेडर्स टू रिटेलर्स, रिटेलर्स टू कंज्यूमर। अगर हम इस चेन को ब्रेक करेंगे तो ये समझ लीजिए कि हम में से कोई फायदे में नहीं रहेगा। एक साथ चलेंगे, एक साथ मेहनत करेंगे, अपनी पैकिंग को ध्यान रखेंगे। जैसे अचिन जी ने अभी बताया कि हाँ भी टिन्स की क्वालिटी डाउन होती जा रही है। पैकिंग जो सबसे भारी प्रॉब्लम आ रही है कि इस मार्केट के अंदर 250 ग्राम या 200 ग्राम्स का या हाफ केजी का पैकेट देता, वो पैकेट और उसका वेट मिला के दिया जाता है। ना उनके पास FSSAI नंबर है, ना कुछ है, ना एड्रेसेस हैं उस पर। इस पे मेरा प्रकाश जी आपसे निवेदन है कि इस पे कुछ आप काम करिए अपनी टीम के साथ, KCMA की तरफ से या सबकी तरफ से। तुकाराम जी आप भी करिए इस चीज़ के। राहुल जी मेरा आपसे भी ये रिक्वेस्ट है, ये उस लेवल से शुरू होगा, स्टेट से शुरू होगा तो दिल्ली तक जरूर उसका इफेक्ट आएगा। ये पैकेजिंग के अंदर हमें इस चीज़ में जरूर, तो ठीक है, बेहतर भविष्य के लिए, बेहतर फ्यूचर के लिए मैं ये मानूंगा आज से कि हम सब मिलकर चलेंगे और ज़रूर चलेंगे और इस कैशो इंडस्ट्रीज़ को ऊंचाइयों तक लेकर आएंगे। हम लोगों ने अभी तक सिर्फ जो प्रोडक्शन है उसको बढ़ाने की तरफ ध्यान दिया। कभी हम लोग सोचते नहीं कि हमें कंजम्पशन को बढ़ाना है। जब तक कंजम्पशन नहीं बढ़ेगी तब तक आपकी ज़्यादा प्रोडक्शन करने का फ़ायदा क्या होगा। प्रोडक्शन ज़्यादा नहीं होगी तो, अगर ज़्यादा होगी, कंजम्पशन कम है, फिर सबके यहाँ स्टॉक्स उनके गोडाउंस में पड़े रहेंगे, जब कोई फायदा नहीं। छोटे छोटे गाँवों में, छोटे छोटे कस्बों में हम लोगों को किसी तरह, सोशल मीडिया अब तो बहुत इफेक्टिव है राहुल जी, हैं प्रकाश जी, सब ये इतना इफेक्टिव है कि आज मैंने एक गाना सुना था उसमें एक बहुत टाइम पहले, कच्चा बादाम देखो कच्चा बादाम, बहुत फेमस हुआ सोशल मीडिया पे। और मेरे ख्याल से छोटे बच्चे बोले पापा ये कच्चा बादाम क्या है, कच्चा बादाम क्या है, तो उनको ला के उनका पीनट है। तो उस पीरियड में पीनट की सेल बहुत ऊपर गई, तब से पीनट की सेल और बढ़ती गई। इसी तरह हमें सोशल मीडिया का हमें कुछ बेनिफिट उठाने चाहिए, सब मिलकर चलेंगे, सारे स्टेट्स मिलकर आगे बढ़ेंगे और सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू हम इस चीज़ के कंजप्शन की ओर ध्यान देंगे। प्रोडक्शन तो आप लोग दे रहे हैं, कंजम्पशन की भी तरफ हमें ज़रूर ध्यान देना चाहिए। धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और आगे बेहतर फ्यूचर के लिए मैं साथ चलने जरूर करूँ।
I've got a huge ground to cover after he just spoke so well. So this session is basically on innovation in our industry. When we talk of innovation, we're talking of how to bring changes in something that is established, especially by introducing new methods, ideas or products. Now, I consider myself as an industry insider now. I've been here for more than a decade. I can say that there is not much that we have done in the past 50 or 60 years. What my grandfather was doing a while ago, same things we are continuing. So, if we can talk of bringing changes in the supply chain, how can we as an industry create a faster delivery cycle? See that there are lesser pilferages, lesser breakages during transit, lesser truck interchanges, and how can we as an industry ensure that no pack stays on the shelf for longer than 1 month from the date of packing? In retailing, we have to give cashew its place in the family. Let the people know. We should make an effort for the people to know that there is a particular grade for each of your requirement. Just by doing this, we are creating so many additional touch points in the industry. Packaging, we are still not out of the decades old system that we have. Of course, we are trying to come out. We were expecting the modern retail to help us come out of it, but again, we are not able to. We are still packing in tins, and as a conventional industry, we think that if we go to pouches or go to packing of 200 and 250 grams, we can get better realizations. On the contrary, it's just adding to our cost. Branding, in cashew, we have a very naive understanding of branding. We say that a good name on the box of 20 kgs is a good brand to be created. No, but we are not connecting directly with the consumer. Do we as processors or B2B or B2C or general trade people have tried to understand what that lady understands or what she comprehends when she picks that pack of cashew? Does she say, oh, this is Badia W240 or this is Badia A240? They don't know that. And lastly, coming to marketing, we have a lot to learn from almonds, we have a lot to learn from walnuts. Since today it's a pan-India platform, I think it has to be a collective effort to market cashews the right way. There is a lot of negative stigma attached to consumption of cashews. Even doctors, I've heard doctors, I've even people of prominence say that cashew is not good for your health, whereas it's absolutely wrong. I'm not talking of it because I'm a processor, but it's technically a wrong thing to say. We as a platform have to create that awareness in the consumers, and that is when we can actually say that our sales are going to shoot up. Thank you.
Myself Sumit Nahar from Bangalore. My company name is Manak Meva. We are a small retail chain right there in Bangalore, running 11 retail outlets today. My communication, whatever it is, it will be direct to the processors, because we are nowhere concerned with any importers or the type of packaging or infestation levels which you people were discussing. So my request to the processors would be the grade manipulation part, not exactly manipulation, but the grade marking system should be improved. As Bhatiaji rightly said, most of my points were covered by Mr. Bhatiaji, so nothing left much to speak. But grade marking system should be improved at all the factory levels. If a customer is buying, for example, JK cashew, there are 10 factory people providing him JK cashews, which they themselves do not know what is there inside. This is a serious concern which is there right now in the market. That's the one point. And the second point is infestation level. Much said about the infestation. We have to control the infestation level to win the confidence and trust of the buyer, because a housewife or the buyer doesn't know the depth or technology with what it has come out from the import level to the retail packet. It is we people who have to take care of the infestation level, bring that down to the maximum level extent, and then moving forward, the marketing part, rightly said again, we have to learn a lot from California almonds and California walnuts. Marketing part also includes the negative impact which generally people have in their mind, that isse cholesterol बढ़ता है. So that point, how we can minimize that, the doubt which what we can clear up will help overall the industry. Thank you so much.
जनरली हम सब बिजनेस अपना ज़्यादातर बिजनेस रिलेशन बिल्ड नहीं करते. आजकल बिजनेस में रिलेशन बिल्ड कीजिए. कस्टमर जितना आपसे सेटिस्फाइड होगा उतना आपका बिजनेस चलेगा. उसको क्या प्रॉब्लम है, क्या इश्यूज़ है. सर जी ने जैसे कहा कि जेके तो 10 फैक्ट्री के जेके अलग अलग आते हैं, मगर वो उसका कोई सॉल्यूशन नहीं है. जितनी फैक्ट्री है उतने ग्रेड है. आज बेंगलोर में 50 ग्रेड बनते हैं तो दूसरी जगह पे 20 ग्रेड बनते हैं. सबका W320 हम कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते कि एक ही साइज़ में आए, मगर एक्चुअली एंड यूज़र को पता ही नहीं है कि वो क्या लेते हैं. हम जो बना के देते हैं, हम उसको खाली इतना पता है ये काजू छोटा है, ये काजू बड़ा है, बाकी क्या डब्ल्यू है, क्या प्लेन है, ये सब भाई साहब जैसे होलसेलर है उसका सबका डिमांड है. बाकी रिटेल एंड यूज़र है वो तो इसके बारे में कुछ जानता ही नहीं. और प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट हम ज़्यादातर क्या है, कोई भी बिजनेस आप देख लो, ज़्यादातर उसका प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट, उसके रॉ मटेरियल, उसके एक्सपेंडिचर, वो सब के ऊपर डिसाइड करता है. सभी लोग जैसे ही अपना रॉ मटेरियल का कॉस्ट बढ़ता है, अपनी प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट के हिसाब से मार्केट में रेट बढ़ाते हैं. मैंने ये पहले ऐसा बिजनेस देखा है जिसका रेट मार्केट डिसाइड करता है. अगर हमारा प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट 700 रुपया है तो हम कभी उसका प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट के ऊपर कभी माल किसी व्यापारी को नहीं बोल सकते कि हमारा प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट 700 है तो हम 710 में बेचेंगे, क्योंकि ये मार्केट पूरा है, वही हमारा रेट डिसाइड करता है. और रॉ मटेरियल अपनी जगह पे आज पोजीशन ये है कि लोग बोल रहे हैं रॉ मटेरियल का शॉर्टेज है, 50-60% क्रॉप है, ज़्यादा नहीं है, फिर भी मार्केट में डिमांड नहीं है. और आज हम वही मटेरियल हमारे प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट के नीचे बेच रहे हैं. क्यों? इतने लोग में से कोई ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता कि हमारा प्रोडक्शन इतना है तो ये प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट के नीचे हम माल बेच ही नहीं सकते. छोटे बिजनेस, ज़्यादातर हमारे यहाँ बिजनेस है ना, छोटे से 1 लाख रुपए से लेके 100 करोड़ तक फैला हुआ है. तो ना ही हम रेट कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं और ना ही हम प्रोडक्ट कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं, मगर एटलीस्ट प्रोडक्ट कॉस्ट के नीचे माल किसी को भी नहीं बेचना चाहिए. थैंक यू.
Points and most of the base is already covered, so I think I have the least to speak on. Currently, I would just start with the market size currently which is there in India. So the entire grocery market which is there in India today is about 10 lakh crores, out of which the modern trade is currently at about 18 to 20%. It was about 15% before pre-COVID, now it is about 18 to 20% post-COVID. The online or the quick commerce which has just started, the online and quick commerce put together is about 3.5% of the entire grocery business. What we are seeing at Big Basket or on an online chain is that customer today wants hygienic, good quality product at the best price given to him at his home. Whether it is a cashew, whether it's an almond, whether it's any other product, I as a consumer would like to give the best to my family, and that is what everyone sitting over here would do that, and every consumer in India is ready to do that. They are all willing to pay a price. It is us as an industry who are competing within each other, trying to play only on the price perspective. People in India today, customers, I'm saying we at Big Basket specifically, I can say that we have 3 different grades which we do in cashews. We do the splits, we do the brokens, we do the holes. Within holes also we do popular, we do royal. There is a customer base for each and every grade, and they are willing to pay a price. Not everyone is ready to buy a W180. Not everyone is going to buy a W320. I can afford a W180. I'll pay a price and I'll buy W180. So it is just a myth within the industry. I would say that only price is a factor, and we should just work on reducing the price or cost benefit and cost working. We should compete only on cost perspective. Quality is something which we should actually look on. So this is one point what I would like to put in as a retailer probably. Second thing is when we at a market level, when we say, so the turnaround time today is very important. The logistics is playing a major factor in the entire business segment. The customer wants a fresher product at his home. He can use it for probably a month's time, 2 months' time, which is very much possible with the modern trade and e-com. When we, as against a general trade, the general trade is very important. I'm saying it's not like the modern trade and e-com is going to eat the entire pie. So as I said when I started, that only 18 to 20% is today the organized retail. 80%, I repeat it again, 80% is still the general trade. So general trade is still the biggest, and it is going to be there irrespective of whether a modern trade or a e-com comes in. There will always be a difference. The turnaround time, the quality and everything. So that's going to stay. But the market in India is robust. The consumer demand is very good. And it's a bigger market. I'm saying globally if we see today, India is well placed as a consumer market. All big companies are trying to come into India because the customer base in India is too huge. So irrespective whether it is modern trade, whether it is e-com, whether it is a general trade, business is robust. Only thing is we need to work out where and how we want to place ourselves. Now coming to the packaged part or the packaged industry which is coming up. So there are a lot of brands which have come up in the last 3 years or 5 years who have started, which people have started recognizing. And private labels from all the competition which in the modern trade and e-com is there. Why a customer is coming to a private label? Why is he buying a private label? Because the customer is seeing that he is getting a consistent quality on whatever is his requirement, they are getting it. Whether they are buying from Big Basket, whether they are buying from Reliance, Amazon, Flipkart, Metro, More, whatever it is, they are getting a consistent quality because all the modern trade and e-com, they are following a specification which is there. And when we buy from the manufacturer knows what is required by the retailer. The retailer is knowing that what he is selling to the customer. So this flow of knowledge which is there between the manufacturer to retailer and retailer to consumer is very important, which currently is missing in the general trade, I would say. Now, it's not like that the manufacturer who is manufacturing separately for the e-com or the modern trade. They are manufacturing the same product which they are giving in the general trade also. But there is always a chance where the grades are, as everyone said, that the grades are different for different factories. There are multiple grades within a single grade of 320. Today there is a S320, there is a W320, there is a WW320, and these 3 grades, when you go to 10 different manufacturers, will become 30 different grades. So it's all about perception. It's all about how we look at things. So this is how the market, I say, is looking like. The market is robust. Thank you.
Piyush ji, thank you for the feedback. My first question to you is, in your e-commerce portal, what is the ratio of your own brand sales and the other brand sales?
Currently, I would say it's a mix of about 80% of private label with a 20% of branded.
And what is the reason behind that?
The reason behind is that one thing is that we have started promoting. I'm like we ourselves we are promoting our private label. Second thing is that the other brands which are there. So majorly, as I said, quite a few number of brands which have in the last 2, 3 years or 5 years have established as a nationalized brand. Now, as a modern trade or whether it's a e-retail, we have a space capacity. We cannot put anything and everything on the shelf for the customer's display. So we have to choose which, or there are certain requirements which we want needs to be fulfilled to place a brand on the shelf. When I know a brand is selling, why will I not put that brand on the shelf?
Where, as you said that 80% is your own brand and 20% is other brands. Same, I think, is happening in other e-commerce portals also. As I showed in the slide, the cost of placing the brand, your brand is very high. So the factory people and the people who are trying to make their brands is not getting anything. So do you think after 5 years, only e-commerce portals brand will be running and all the other brands will extinguish?
I don't think so. Because the reach of brands, see, we are selling the private label only on our platform. A big basket platform comes like a BB.
But other people are on other platforms also, they are selling their private labels. So in the post 5 years, only 5 players will be there who are selling their own brands, and the other brands, they will depreciate slowly.
I think it will not depreciate, it will increase. Because as I said, that last 3 to 5 years, the brands have started building themselves. To build a brand, it takes time. If you talk about a Liver, if you talk about a Dabur, if you talk about Britannia, they didn't build overnight. It took time for them to build. So brand building itself is a task. And to do that, it will take some time and slowly and gradually. So the percentage, if you ask me 3 years back, the percentage would be 95 of private label and 5 of other brands. Today I am saying 80% and 20%. So it is improving.
As you said that your seller knows what he has to sell to you, and your buyer also knows what he is getting. The side effect is that last 3 months or 5 months or 7 months we are seeking 240s piling up because all 320s are covered up, and the retail sector has gone down because the retailer or the kirana shop who was selling the 240, now because the portals are selling 320s more at a cheaper price, very very cheap price, because their packaging cost is less and they are procuring at a lesser price. So the factory people are finding hard to sell 240s, 210s, 180s. Almost their sales are extinguished from the market. What do you say about this?
I think we cannot control consumer behavior. So one thing what we are seeing on our platform itself is that the demand for brokens and splits as a consumer base has grown. Why? Because there is the table consumption of cashew is less than the cooking consumption of cashews. Now today wife, mother, whoever is the person who's cooking at home, they know that I am getting a cashew which I need to use it to prepare a gravy or a sweet or anything as a garnishing. A split will do or a broken will do. Why should I pay a price for W240 or a W180? W240, W180 today, what I understand from the consumer behavior is majorly for either I have to present it to my guest or I have to gift it to someone. And that is where the shift in demand is being seen.
My next question is for Solai Shakti. Sir, as you can see, the e-commerce platform is coming up robustly. How your high price modern retail will sustain against this? As somebody is investing in your brand, somebody is putting the material in your modern retail stores, and after 2 years or 3 years, if he cannot sell in your stores, what he'll do?
Just a small correction there. It is not high price, it is probably the right price. But I take the question. Largely there are two aspects to it. One is I agree with Piyush. In terms of the customer behavior, we cannot change, but we can probably influence. And one of the biggest innovation which is seen in the customer behavior today is moving towards a brand. Today, if you say why probably 80% is private label, because there is no other brand particularly. If you take a toothpaste or a soap or even any other product, there are plenty of brands and therefore they fight for share. today this entire space is totally vacant and people look for a brand there. And this is the strength which is going to move this entire cashew business from being a commodity to a desirable product. In my portfolio, I also buy edible oil as one of the portfolios, and the price keeps changing every single day. In today's situation, it changes 2 times a day. I practically cannot understand why should even a cashew be treated more like a commodity, why cannot it become a brand where the associated factors of trust, of quality, of healthiness comes along with that, and therefore the consumption grows up. And that, I think, is going to be the recipe for modern trade or the organized trade to succeed. However, at Metro Wholesale, one of our largest customers is the Kirana stores. We cater to the Kirana stores, and the other customer segment includes hotels, restaurants, caterers, which we call as Horeca. And these are the segments which really are in need of a new innovation of smaller pouches, which we call in the industry parlance as LUP, lower unit packs, which FMCG beautifully does. 5 rupee biscuit, 3 rupee biscuit, 10 rupee biscuits, etc. Making the product, which is a premium product, more affordable to get an entry into the household, and therefore inducing consumption is going to be the way forward. And I think we are on this journey to make sure that it happens. Once the habit picks up, once the trust comes, then that item, cashew, is also going to become one of the buying item list of a monthly grocery basket, which today it is not. It is more of an add-on on an occasion. So I think these are the things: increasing the penetration and creating awareness, building a brand, and educating the customers, as my colleague rightly mentioned, about the health benefits. These are the value additions which a modern trade is able to bring in terms of directly interacting with the customer, and the customer is willing to pay the right price for that. I think that will be the recipe for success.
My another question for you is, I think your company is a German company. So, if any of our industrialist or manufacturer wants to put your product out of India in a small scale, like maybe 1000 kg or 2000 kg on B2B platforms in Germany or Europe or somewhere, is there any space or is there any platform for that also you are providing?
100%, absolutely yes. Why small quantity? We can put a very large quantity, of course. Just to add on to that bit, we have something called as Metro Global Buying, or MGB, where we do cross-country imports and exports. Example, last month we brought in roughly about 12 containers of, say, Valencia oranges from Egypt. This month we are getting some containers of kiwis. Similarly, we do export a lot of products which are native products from the country. While we know that the export regulations, particularly in the European Union, are going to be far stringent, whichever is the facility which has all these required certifications of HACCP and FSSC, etc., more than happy to participate in that. And that is also one of our mission, to make sure that India shines in the global arena. Absolutely willing.
Next question is for Amit Bhai ji. Sir, they are focusing that brand should be there in the cashew. But for a manufacturer, for a trader, as I said, that brand building is difficult because market is flooded with 250 gram, including weight pouches. So you guide us how to deal with this problem and how to make brand. Because when we take our pouches to the market, in fact, we are sitting here, all the industrialists, all the cashew manufacturers have tried to put their brands, but nobody sustained because of this competition only. And even the organized traders who are having fasai labels, who are having the vegetarian this and everything, they get an instant challan from fasai. And who is putting nothing on the pouch, he never get, because the fasai people says that we don't have who to challan. So how to deal with this problem?
So this problem essentially is hitting the industry in 3 ways. First is the very visible cost advantage that a consumer is getting when he's buying that pack of cashews. So the trust level a consumer places in a packet is that he is not going to cross-check the weight that is coming in it. उस पे 250 grams लिखा है तो is assuming it is 250 grams and is getting it at a far cheaper price than what an actual 250 gram packet will cost him. That's the first hit. The second hit is that these packets are essentially unmarked. So when you're selling unmarked packets, even if any regulator catches hold of it, there is no place he can send a notice to. The third hit that we are getting is, because of once the customer buys it, if even 1 out of 10 weighs that packet, that trust in that general trade is broken. So this customer either goes back to his kirana and asks for loose kernels and gets it packed in front of him, or he'll shift to modern retail. And when he goes to modern retail, this is where, own brands or the brands that are present on modern retail gain more traction. So for the general trade and for the industry as a whole, now I am a medium scale processor. I am trying to create a small brand of my own in certain pockets in the country. So when these things happen, if I have a strong presence there, he'll come to my brand. But otherwise, the consumer will essentially shift to either online, or he'll go backwards and buy the loose kernels. So this, short payment of packaging is hitting the industry really hard in 3 places. This is my submission.
My second question is, we have seen the almond board, the pistachio board marketing very well. And they are daily, we see ads, eat pistachio, eat. We have 8 associations in our country. Just now all those people sat. And what kind of product management or the product marketing these according to you they are doing? What we see daily in the newspaper, there is a pamphlet, eat almonds. Daily there is a newspaper heading, eat equivalent. If we are eat 4 pistachios means one egg we are eating, because they know that we are a vegetarian community. So instead of egg, you can eat a pistachio. What kind of marketing the associations are trying to do for cashew nuts?
Well,
which will benefit the traders and whole fraternity, which will get benefit?
The answer to that is currently we are doing literally zero to promote cashews on any platform. But almonds and pistachios, if you understand what they have done, they have got into the mindset of the people. They've got into the mindset of the people saying that almonds and pistachios are good and cashews are not so good. So first what you have to do is you have to come out of that negative perception. Once we come out of that negative perception, only then will we be able to create a positive perception and get those people to look at cashews in a better way. So that's a really long path that we have to chart. We have to undo the negative perception that has been built on us from various fraternities. Once we come to ground zero, then building it up. So again, as I pointed out when I was talking, it cannot be handled by one association or one manufacturer or one marketer.
We have 8.
So this platform has to be used for that, to come to a common ground on creating generic promotion for cashew nuts.
Lot of नए प्रोसेसिंग सेंटर्स आ रहे हैं, गुजरात, दिल्ली, जयपुर. इन्होंने सप्लाई चेन को अफेक्ट किया है. इनके लिए नए प्रोसेसिंग सेंटर्स के लिए कोई मैसेज आप?
देखिए, सप्लाई चेन तो कोई इफेक्ट होगा नहीं. प्रोसेसर नए आ रहे हैं, उससे रिटेलर, होलसेलर उसको काफ़ी सारा फ़ायदा होगा, क्योंकि उतना ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कम होगा, उतना ब्रोकन कम होगा. अगर माल साउथ से या कहीं से भी आता है,
प्रोसेसर्स के लिए कोई मैसेज जो आप देना चाहेंगे इस तरीके से अच्छा रहेगा, या जो
अगर छोटे प्रोसेसर है तो उसके लिए डायरेक्ट रिटेलिंग अच्छा है, क्योंकि वो हायर प्राइस में सेल कर सकते हैं. और अगर बड़े प्रोसेसर है तो उसके लिए B2B अच्छा है, क्योंकि उसको वॉल्यूम और क्वांटिटी भी मिलेगा. और उसके हिसाब से अभी ज़्यादा अपना जयपुर, दिल्ली, गुजरात उस साइड जो भी प्रोसेसर है उसमें मेजर सभी स्टार्टिंग स्टेज में है. अभी किसी का इतना वॉल्यूम में काम नहीं है. गुजरात में मैंने 20 साल पहले फैक्ट्री डाली थी, जो मेरी पहली थी, और उस टाइम पे मैंने कोई काजू की फैक्ट्री नहीं दिखी थी. अभी तो इतने सारे एसोसिएशन एक साथ कोऑर्डिनेट कर रहे हैं. तो जो नया प्रोसेसर है उसके लिए आप उसको वेलकम कीजिए, उसको नॉलेज दीजिए, प्रोसेसिंग आप हाउ टू प्रोसेस उसको सिखाइए, ताकि आगे जाके वो बड़ी फैक्ट्री डालने के लिए वो ज़्यादातर काजू प्रोसेसिंग ऐसी इंडस्ट्री है कि आप कितने सालों से भी कर रहे हो, फिर भी आप रोज सीखते हो. डेली आपको सीखना पड़ता है हाउ टू प्रोसेस, क्योंकि चैलेंजेस ही इतने हैं काजू प्रोसेसिंग में,
बिग चैलेंजेस,
कि कोई भी ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता कि मुझे सब पता है. मैं भी आज कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम फेस करता हूँ.
कैशू प्रोसेसिंग इज अ बिग टास्क.
सब आज बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जिसके पास काफ़ी सारा फाइनेंस है, वो डाल भी सकते हैं, फिर भी फेल हो रहे हैं. उसका रीज़न यही है कि उसको नॉलेज नहीं है हाउ टू प्रोसेस या तो हाउ टू हैंडल इट.
Sumit ji, what consumer behavior, as you have retail chain stores, you have seen if towards brands, packaging, quality acceptance, pre-COVID and post-COVID? Do the people want to spend more or they want to spend less pre-COVID and post-COVID?
Spending has never come down. Spending has always increased. And talking about quality consciousness, it has of course increased, and it is increasing day by day. People are becoming more knowledgeable about this. More and more great information they are getting. The labeling part is improving. They are becoming more informative to them. So expenditure has never come down.
Thank you.
It's only the quality consciousness that we have to take care of, and we have to give a better quality.
Alok ji, sales in Delhi are declining as we are discussing, or maybe we are feeling. Do you have any cost reduction points? कोई भी cost reduction किस तरीके से conventional platform में करी जा सकती है?
Cost means expense.
हाँ?
You mean expense?
Cost reduction means जो हमारा चैनल है, conventional चैनल है, उसमें किस तरीके से हम और ज़्यादा बेहतर कर सकते हैं जिससे कि दिल्ली की सेल्स बढ़े?
मैं ये जानना चाह रहा हूँ कि कॉस्ट आप इन्वेस्टमेंट पर्पस के लिए कह रहे हैं या एक्सपेंस की बात कर रहे हैं? बोथ ओके। देखिए, जो एक्सपेंस पड़ रहे हैं वो तो मैन्युफैक्चर से सभी के ऊपर पड़ रहे हैं, उसके अंदर हम लोगों को इतना कंपटीशन नहीं फेस करना पड़ता। रही इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात, तो दिल्ली हमेशा एक हब रहा है, रहा है, और ये मेरा मानना है कि आगे भी रहेगा, क्योंकि सबसे बड़ी बात है कैपिटल इंटेंसिव परचेज। जब हम बल्क में माल खरीदते हैं तभी हमारी कॉस्टिंग सही आती है। साथ में अगर लोअर ग्रेड्स खरीदते हैं, जैसे मैंने पहले कहा, तो हम हायर ग्रेड्स भी खरीदते हैं और अपने रेट्स के हिसाब से खरीदते हैं। जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि रेट्स का पड़ता है नहीं है, लेकिन फैक्ट्री वाला बेचता है, तो हमेशा दिल्ली की जो स्ट्रेंथ रही है वो यही कैपिटल इंटेंसिव परचेज के ऊपर रही है और आगे भी रहेगी। जिन्होंने बल्क में माल खरीदना है, आज बहुत से स्वीट शॉप्स वाले हैं, बहुत से बड़े बड़े रिटेलर्स हैं, जब इनको बल्क में माल खरीदना होता है तो दिल्ली एक सेंटर ऐसा नज़र आता है जहां पर आके वो बल्क में लेने के लिए सैंपल्स देख सकते हैं। आओ दिल्ली मार्केट में आते हैं, सैंपल्स आपके यहाँ देखें, मेरे यहाँ देखें, उनको जो पसंद आता है वो खरीदते हैं। उनको ये फैसिलिटी ऑल ओवर इंडिया में कहीं नहीं मिल सकती। तो जो ये फैसिलिटी हम प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं और हम लोग इतना इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें हमेशा दिल्ली का एडवांटेज रहेगा। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि कस्टमर का कॉन्फिडेंस रहता है कि जो चीज़ हम उसको कम से कम दिखा के दे रहे हैं, ये नहीं है कि हमने पैसे भेज दिए फैक्ट्री वाले को, अब पता नहीं क्या माल आएगा क्या नहीं आएगा।
वो देख के टच करके
पूरा फील करके खा के देखता है, टेस्ट करके देखता है, ताकि आगे उसका क्वालिटी कंट्रोल अपने प्रोडक्ट पे रहे। पीछे फैक्ट्रीज वाले, जैसे मैंने अभी पहले भी कहा कि स्वीट शॉप को, बड़े बड़े स्वीट शॉप जो आप और हमने मिलके डेवलप किए हैं, उनको वहाँ से ऑफर देते हैं। हमका फर्ज करो हमने दिया 700, तो 660 में उसको ऑफर देके वो माल देना चाहते हैं, पर वो टेस्ट नहीं कर सकता, वो सैंपल देख नहीं सकता, वो ये आगे प्रेडिक्ट नहीं कर सकता कि जो उसकी आगे क्वालिटी बनेगी वो नहीं बनेगी। तो दिल्ली को ये हमेशा एडवांटेज रहा है कि वो सैंपल दिखाता है, कस्टमर का विश्वास बनाए रखता है, उसको वो प्रोडक्ट देता है, और भगवान ने चाहा तो आगे भी ये दिल्ली बहुत ही कामयाब।
Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's a question to Piyush and Sulai. You are the first. You're the last minute connectivity between the processor and the consumer. So, what is that consumer is looking? The first impression to buy cashews, is it the price? Because you're not selling your brand, and basically it is a commodity. For me, cashew is a commodity. We have not been able to build up as a brand. Because we don't do any value addition into the cashews. So what is the first impression, or what is the first triggering point for a buyer to buy cashews from you? Is it the price, or is it the quality? Now quality, I'm not sure, because from an e-commerce platform, they can't have a touch and feel factor, as Alok ji was stating. but probably from metro they could have because they are buying into kirana. So what is that first triggering point for a buyer to buy? Number two, how educated our buyers are in terms of grades and quality. I mean, do they actually know 320, 240? Do they buy basically 320s, 240, or they buy from a, understanding that this looks good and I should buy? So, do we need to educate the consumer on the grades, or it's just the look factor which gives them the first impression to buy?
Hi Ravindraji, good to meet you after a long time. First part, the trigger part actually for any of the buyer to come to the store and buy physical store like a metro is trust. Particularly for a product like cashew, we talked a lot about consistency, quality, etc. So that becomes the first trigger point. And of course, Bhatia mentioned about trust being another common factor in the Haribali market as well. So I think, in my opinion, that is the first thing which is a trigger factor. Where can I buy the product without having to worry about what I saw and what I get is the first trigger point. Of course, the ancillaries which come along with that is, for the money that I'm paying, am I getting the best value out of it? It is not price, I would say it is actually the value. That is the first part. The second part is, I don't think, in my opinion, the customers or the buyers know about the grades. Like most of the panel members mentioned, I think it is something that we have created, and it is also a complexity in the entire value chain we have maintained. From a wholesaler standpoint, we need to create an item code for each of these varieties, W, WW, and all of this. The customers do not understand or probably appreciate that. They largely look for simplification. My requirement for the ultimate purpose is this, say for a hotelier or restaurant manufacturer of food, etc. I'm going to use a bits. So give me the best price without having any quality issues. That's the requirement. So a Kirana store, I'm going to sell, say, 20 grams of products to my customer at, say, 15 rupees. So what is the price what is the product I can get? So from the customer side, I don't think they appreciate or understand the grades. I don't think we even need to educate them. In my personal opinion, I think we need to simplify a lot on the grades ourselves instead of living with it and trying to explain to the customers.
We on Big Basket, we see that the buying pattern of a consumer is on two ways. One is an impulse buy and one is a planned buy. A planned buy is for those customers who, on a daily basis, they need it for their home, either for table consumption or for curry preparation or anything. So for these customers, they when they go to any platform to buy, whether it is Big Basket or whether it is any competitor platform or whether they go to a modern trade, they know what quality they are getting or the quality they want to buy, and then it comes to the price. They look at the price, who is selling what, because it has become very convenient from your mobile that you can jump apps from Big Basket to Jio to Amazon to Flipkart. They'll check the prices. They build their basket. Now if everything is fitting in their basket for one product, they will not jump to any other platform or they'll not jump to any different segment. So that is one buying which is a planned buying. Then there is an impulse buying. Impulse buying generally happens on a modern trade store when the customer is walking through a metro cash and carry, or whether they are buying through a Reliance store or whether they are buying through a more store. They see a product, they get tempted, they buy it. They don't see the price that time. This is how the customer, how we understand customer buys. Second thing, coming to the grade quality and everything. So as I said, customer understands a broken, customer understands a split, customer understands a whole. These are the only three bifurcation which a customer understands. In wholes, yeah, definitely they will understand this is a smaller size hole and this is a larger size hole. Irrespective of what we have created a SSW, WWW, this the customer doesn't understand. दिखने में अच्छा होना चाहिए, कलर अच्छा होना चाहिए, ब्रोकन अगर उसको होल्स चाहिए तो उसमें ब्रोकन ज़्यादा नहीं होना चाहिए. दिस इज व्हाट अ रेगुलर कस्टमर का मतलब द माइंड परसेप्शन इज ओनली दिस मच.
हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा नाम विनय मालपानी है और सबसे पहले तो मंच पे आसीन और बाकी सब यहाँ पे जितने भी लोग हैं उनको मैं नमन करता हूँ और प्रणाम करता हूँ. विनय मालपानी, देव ट्रेडिंग कंपनी जयपुर से. देखिए, यहाँ पे जितनी बातें हो रही है और अभी जो विगत में भी काफ़ी बातें हुई और जो अभी भी चल रही है उसमें क्वालिटी के ऊपर बहुत बोल रहे हैं हम और बात कर रहे हैं और करनी भी चाहिए. लेकिन मेरा अनुभव ये कहता है, उम्र 22 थी जब मैंने काम चालू किया तो आज 42 का हो गया, 20 साल हो गए. लेकिन आप लोगों के आशीर्वाद से आज तक कभी भी काजू बेचने में मेरे को कोई तकलीफ नहीं सिवाय एक की. सब तरह के ग्रेड, सब तरह की क्वालिटी, हर चीज़ बिकती है. बाजार भगवान होता है और भगवान सब देखता है. तो बाजार अपने आप तय करता है कि किसकी क्वालिटी बिकनी है, किसकी क्वालिटी खरीदनी है, और जिसकी जैसी क्षमता होती है वैसी वो क्वालिटी बनाता है और वैसी वो बेचता है। सिर्फ एक तकलीफ है मेरे को पूरे बाजार में, और कुछ भी तकलीफ नहीं है, कि आप फैक्ट्री वालों से एक अनुरोध है, आप जो बोल करके दे रहे हैं सिर्फ वो हमको पकड़ा दीजिए, बाकी बेच हम सब लेंगे। आप जेके दे रहे हैं, जेके दे दीजिए, चाहे 600 का दीजिए, 650 का दीजिए, बोल करके अगर आपने 650 का माल हमको दिया है और 600 की क्वालिटी भर दी है, वो मत कीजिए। आप 600 में दे दीजिए, 600 का माल को बेच हम लेंगे। इतना सा आपसे सबसे अनुरोध है, बाकी तो सब देखिए, फिर वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, बाजार भगवान है और भगवान सब देखता है। अपने आप जैसे कितनी भी मिट्टी भरा हुआ पानी हो, डस्ट अपने आप सेटल हो जाती है, साफ पानी दिखता है, बाजार अपने आप तय करेगा कि उसको BSK का माल लेना है कि कलबावी का लेना है कि MMP का लेना है या किसका लेना है। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thanks, Achin ji, for this opportunity to ask the question in spite of the time lag. People in this industry who have been for more than 2 decades now know the change that the industry has gone through, and by God's grace, industry has been able to afford that change, and from unorganized we have kind of come to a very organized, and we are having state of the art facilities today. Marketing definitely is a challenge. Along with that, we are seeing a new trend of burning money by the startups. So I would want to know from the panelists, how serious is that a threat for our industry, and whether that, do they feel, is that the only way forward for all of us?
टोटली एग्री विद यू। मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है, तभी मैं इस बात पे बोलना चाह रहा था। रिसेंटली अभी 4 मंथ्स पहले मेरे बेटे ने कर्नेलो ब्रांड के नाम से, जैसे हम लोगों को आदत है बेचने का, और हमारा हमेशा ये रहा है कि कंज्यूमर तक हमेशा मिनिमम रेट्स, मतलब वो खरीद सके उसके जेब के हिसाब से हो, कि अगर हमने 800 में दिया तो कंज्यूमर तक 1000 का पहुंचा। जब उसने मुझे सारी चीज़ पढ़ाई, वो ऑनलाइन में बहुत इंटरेस्टेड था, और सारे ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म्स पे लाइक अमेज़न, बिग बास्केट जो भी हैं, फ्लिपकार्ट, उसने ट्राई किया। उसने कहा पापा सबसे पहले तो हमें ना ये 250 ग्राम्स और ये छोटे छोटे पैकेट्स लाने पड़ेंगे। तो मैंने देखा, मैंने उसकी कॉस्टिंग लगाई, तो अप्रॉक्सीमेट एक हमें 250 ग्राम्स के ऊपर जो कॉस्टिंग जो अमेज़न या जो भी ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, ये मतलब चार्ज कर रहे हैं अराउंड 110 to 130 रुपीज़ ओनली फॉर 250 ग्राम्स। मैंने कहा बेटा ये तो कंज्यूमर तक जाएगा, और ये तो 500 रुपये किलो पर उसको पड़ेगा ये काजू, जैसे हमारी लेमैन की भाषा में हम लोग हमेशा ये सोचते हैं। फिर उसने कहा पापा इन पे एड्स देना पड़ेगा। मैंने कहा ऐड से क्या होता है? कहता है एड्स देते हैं ना उस दिन ऑर्डर ज़्यादा आते हैं। मैंने कहा अच्छा भाई। मैंने कहा ऐड के क्या पैसे हैं? तो उसमें भी उन्होंने अलग अलग रेंजेस बनाई थी कि ये इतने पैसे इतने ऐड के पर डे, इतने पैसे इतने इसमें ज़्यादा है। और देखा वाकई ऐड दी तो उस दिन पैकेट के ऑर्डर्स भी ज़्यादा है, बहुत ज़्यादा है। मैंने कहा बेटा कुछ घपला लग रहा है मेरे को कि ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है कि आप देते हैं और वो एकदम ऑर्डर्स आपको ज़्यादा आने शुरू हो जाते हैं। मतलब मेरे कहने का मतलब ये है कि जो कॉस्ट हमें कंज्यूमर तक कम पहुंचानी चाहिए वो बिल्कुल उल्टा हो गया। आज कस्टमर एक 800 रुपये की चीज़ के पीछे जो वो रिटेलर से लेता था 1000 रुपये में, वो आज उसके 1300 1400 कर रहा है। तो मेरे जो ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म पे जो हैं बंद आप बैठे हैं जैसे, तो मेरी ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप अपनी जो कॉस्टिंग है वो कम करिए, ताकि इस बिज़नेस को और हम प्रमोट कर सकें, ऑनलाइन बिज़नेस को हम और प्रमोट कर सकें।
सर मेरे हिसाब से आपने जवाब भी खुद ही दे दिया है, जो आप पॉइंट रेज कर रहे हैं उसमें जवाब आपने खुद ने दे दिया। सी मार्केटिंग और विजिबिलिटी चार्जेस व्हाट वी चार्ज, ठीक है। सी इट्स वी हैव अ लिमिटेड स्कोप ऑफ डूइंग थिंग्स। इट्स नॉट, मतलब मैं हर एक ब्रांड को सेम स्पेस नहीं दे सकता एज अ रिटेलर, तो वी हैव टू चार्ज मनी, ठीक है, विच इवन अ मॉडर्न ट्रेड डज फॉर पुटिंग इट ऑन अ स्पेस। दे चार्ज फॉर स्पेस, वी आर चार्जिंग फॉर द असेट, द बैनर्स, व्हाट वी आर डूइंग। Now what happens is कि it's not a gimmick wherein the sales will increase. जैसे आपने banner दिया तो sale increase हो गया, ना banner ना दिया तो sale decrease हो गया. When a customer comes to a platform of Big Basket or for any other competitor, if he sees your ad, if he sees your product, it becomes an impulse buy for him. He sees an attractive offer, he sees your product, he sees your brand, customer goes, he opts for it and he buys it. अब अगर customer को पता ही नहीं है कि X brand Big Basket पे बिक रहा है, how will he buy it? Customer, unless and until your brand recognition or the brand value is such, आज मैं टूथपेस्ट के लिए मुझे टूथपेस्ट डालने की जरूरत नहीं है, मैं सीधे कोलगेट डालता हूँ, मुझे पता है कि मेरे को कोलगेट का ये वेरिएंट बाई करना है. बट इज देयर राइट नाउ विद इन द इंडस्ट्री, डज एनीवन हैज अ से दैट मुझे इसी ब्रांड का कैश्यू बाई करना है? हाउ डू आई मेक इट दैट रिकग्निशन हैपन फॉर द कस्टमर? आई हैव टू डू अ मार्केटिंग बैनर. Nothing comes for free, so we have to charge for it because there are so many brands who are willingly interested and they want to market their product and they are doing it. One time it is a cost which I understand, but over a period of time when it gets bifurcated over the sales what you achieve from it, it gets consumed.
नमस्ते जी. अपना जयपुर भाई जी ने जो बोले, जो रेट को वही क्वालिटी देने का. आप राजस्थान जयपुर से है, हम उड़ीसा जयपुर से है. हाँ, आप जयपुर आ जाइए, जो रेट को वही क्वालिटी हम लोग देते हैं थ्रू आउट द ईयर. आप एक दिखाते नहीं, जो दिखाते हैं वही देते. आप एक बार आके ट्राई कीजिए, अच्छा मार्केट मिलेगा आपको जयपुर में. थैंक यू. और उमेश जी, आपने बोले काजू खाने से क्या बोलते कोलेस्ट्रॉल, उसका ऊपर पहले बोले थे नेगेटिव से नॉर्मल को आके उसका बाद पॉजिटिव की तरफ जाने का. तीनों एक ही बार करना अच्छा है. टोटल इंडिया में जितना एसोसिएशन है सब एक बार डिस्कशन करके उसका लिए कोई भी वीडियो बना के हम लोग खुद स्पॉन्सर करके वायरल भी कर सकते हैं. हम लोग एक बार ट्राई करना चाहिए इसके पीछे. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू. तो लेट्स कंक्लूड दिस पैनल. हमने कन्वेंशनल सप्लाई चेन में देखा हमको कॉस्ट कट करनी पड़ेगी आगे बढ़ने के लिए, कन्वेंशनल मार्केट्स को आगे ले जाने के लिए. मॉडर्न रिटेल और ई कॉमर्स, जैसे कि पीयूष जी ने कहा, इन्होंने एक एडिशनल मार्केट क्रिएट करी है और एक जनरलाइजेशन कर दी है काजू के अंदर कि जो रिपीटेडली सेम क्वालिटी एंड सेम स्पेक्स के चीज़ मिल रही है. That and the pieces which they are promoting earlier, the visibility of pieces to the consumer was very less, which these portals have done. अगर किसी को 4 टुकड़ा चाहिए रेवी बनाने के लिए तो why he'll buy and he'll spend 800 rupees or 900 rupees on the holes, but the visibility towards the local customer was less, which they have done very well. In packaging, we have discussed the tin problem, and Amit ji has said that they will consider this including weight problem. I think we will sort out these issues so that the organized trade and organized packers will have more space to do things. पैकेज मार्केट में हमारे पास बहुत ज़्यादा स्पेस है क्योंकि अभी भी वो 18-20% ही है, तो वी हैव मोर स्पेस टू गो. एंड ब्रांडिंग इज अ चैलेंज इन कैशू which we have to take up and we have to go towards it. With that, I thanks my panelists and I thank you all for having patience and thank you.